Last time on SV Sparkle Muffin. I contort into some serious boat yoga to replace the exhaust hose. Splice and install a new main halyard. And a new headsail halyard as well. Ian and Gwen and I sailed the San Francisco Bay. Hoist the camera up for a nauseating view. Chill at anchor for an amazing sunset dinner. And fire up the sparkly things. We awake to an absolutely idyllic morning on the bay. Ian and Gwen and I had anchored overnight in Richardson Bay. It was a quiet night except for the strange noise that woke me at 4 a.m. Never did figure out what it was. After coffee and breakfast, we get underway, leaving the Golden Gate Bridge behind us as we head back to home berth. I love the moments when it's just me, the wind, and the beautiful splendor of nature. Just a few weeks later, and we're at it again. This time we're out for a Halloween sail. I'd heard about a sailboat race that was happening today and thought it might be fun to go check it out. With Gwen at the helm, she finds us plenty of wind in no time.
I never feel like I have anything to say to a camera, so I just take like random clips and then put it to music.
Also, the audio quality on my camera is not that good, especially when it's windy. Later, the wind is not so cooperative. So we relax and I try to shoot some artsy looking footage. We never made it all the way up to the race, but got close enough that I could see the metric crap ton of vessels participating, which was enough to convince me I didn't want to be anywhere near it. That may well have been the most boats I've ever seen. The scene was too far away for the camera to make out, unfortunately. Back at dock, it's time for a project. I'll be installing a digital barograph, which is an instrument that records and graphs barometric pressure over time. It will be useful for understanding developing and local weather at sea. It's a bit more involved than it otherwise might be, because I want the barograph to be powered at all times, even when the battery switches off. This means I can't use any of the existing connections here, and we'll have to run a new power wire all the way to the battery. The device will be mounted on the surface of this panel, and I need to drill a hole for the power cord. Et voila! Here's the finished product. And now for what is one of the most wretched and inglorious tasks on a boat, cleaning the diesel tank. The best way I could find that wasn't prohibitively expensive and least likely to make a huge mess was to use a small hand-operated pump intended for oil changes. It involves pumping the air out of the container, then using the suction to pull the fuel up out of the tank. Naturally, it's preferable to do this with as empty a fuel tank as possible. Unfortunately, that was not an option for me, and I have a solid 35 gallons to get through. After about 4 to 5 pump and suck cycles, the container is full. Then it's time to empty the container into a jerry can. Time for another round. Pump, suck. Pump, suck. Pump, suck. Pump, suck. Pump, suck. Climb. Pour. Pour, pour, and pour. Climb, wipe, 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 and repeat. In this way, over and over. I repeated this over 40 times, actually, to move all 35 gallons. Miraculously, I didn't spill any fuel throughout the whole process. Over several weekends of hand pumping, the jerry cans collect.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again.
With the fuel emptied from the tank, I can now remove the fuel pickup tube and other components in preparation for cleaning. This copper tubing is covered in some sort of hard, crusty black material. I crafted new replacement gaskets from Viton rubber. This is pretty well stuck on here and needs the aid of a heat gun to loosen the adhesive. This is the fuel return tube. Here's what they look like cleaned up. Top of the tank before and after. I lower the camera down into the bowels of the tank to see what's up. I had no idea what I'd find, since Sparkles is 23 years old and it's unknown if the tank has ever been cleaned. Actually, it's not bad at all things considered. I'm still going to pressure wash and clean the inside though. I rented a pressure washer from a popular hardware store that shall remain nameless, but it was broken and I had to lug the thing all the way back to exchange. Note to self, next time, test it at the store before leaving. Now we're ready. It's a bit awkward to get the big nozzle in there and reach all surfaces. Now time for some scrubbing, which involves several delightful hours of cramming my head into this little square hole. My arm was burning tired. I upgraded to a fancy mask that keeps fumes out. Clearly it doesn't help with mental maturity though. Mop time! For the final step, I use a little picker-upper tool to get random bits of gunk from the bottom of the tank.